Hello and welcome to Re-enthused. Today we are taking a look at this, which is the LaserActive, or there was a Pioneer Laserdisc player with some special features. Now, although this is huge and hefty, and it really is, let me see if I can. I'll grab a original PlayStation so you can see a bit of a size comparison. So, yep, you can see there's a fairly massive size difference to these things. But this is in fact two LaserActives. I did this way so I could easily, or lazily, show you what the back looks like. Let's put the PlayStation down. Right, so this is the machine here. Fairly uninteresting, really, front panel, apart from this bit, which is something we'll be going into in a minute. But just with normal things like ejection, although there is a CD and an LD ejection, because you can just eject CD if you're playing CD games. Another thing I'll go into a bit later. Power pack release, again later, and a play and still button. Fairly simple, because it's a fairly simple Laserdisc player, like it's not a particularly great one. But again, that wasn't its strength. Now at the back we have the usual outputs, the stereo sound output and composite output here. You've also got a SPDIF output for if you want digital sound. And these special ports here, which are an accessory port, which is I can fortunately now the reason why I can do this video now is because the last piece of the puzzle came through, so I can actually show you what those are used for. Right. With all that said, what is the LaserActive? Well, if you don't know what a Laserdisc is, then quite simply, it was basically one of the first optical video formats. Now, it wasn't digital, it was just, but it was on similar discs to CDs. But if I, effectively it started out as a film, so if we look at this one, so this is Trapped in Paradise, and if we take the disc out, you'll see what it looks like is effectively a vinyl record sized CD, and that's largely what it is. But unlike CD, this information isn't actually stored digitally, it's actually stored analog. So it's technically closer to a record player than it is to a CD, although it does use a laser to read those pits because they are very fine pits. I got this mostly for its special feature, so I wasn't really like going to buy anything as a Laserdisc, because Laserdisc themselves, their quality is just a bit above VHS. It's nothing truly impressive now. Back in the time it was released in 1993, it was pretty impressive, but not so impressive now. But I kind of ended up collecting quite a few discs, as some of them are quite cheap, and I really just love the art. It really is just like a vinyl disc, but for video, and some of them are great. Some of them are these huge opening up boxes, especially because the length of these discs can't be that long. Some films have to go onto two discs, and so you'll get these double things, but they'll have loads of information in them and things you can read, and it's genuinely nice. So I've ended up collecting quite a few films, and I've enjoyed watching them because they're older films which I don't watch much nowadays. So it's been a good excuse to watch them. But back onto this. Right, so the special feature. Now, the special feature makes this quite possibly one of the most versatile machines going. And basically it's this compartment down here. So if I hit this pack release button, you'll see this thing comes out the front. And effectively what happened with this is that Pioneer made this machine a fairly low-end Laserdisc player, although it was about $900 when it was released. But they added it in this special pack feature, and these packs, well, there were 3 packs released, main packs, and then there was a developer's pack as well. But the 2 ones we're interested in is this one, which is you see has a Megadrive slot and Megadrive controller ports, and this one, which is got a PC Engine huge car port and a pad port for the PC Engine. Yep. So with these 2 packs, you can play the games for Megadrive and the the PC Engine. So not TurboGrafx, because it is actually region locked. Now, it'd be pretty amazing if it was just that, if that's all it could do. But if you have a look at the front of the, are we in focus there? Yeah, I think so. If you have a look at the front of these, you'll see that it's also say LD-ROM as well. And if you look at the front of this one, you'll see it also says Mega CD. And this one doesn't say Super CD. it's also the same thing. Yeah, so this could play basically not just the cartridges, but also the CD media. So it could play the same Mega CD games and also the Super CD games. And obviously with the laser, with the TurboGrafx, so with the PC Engine, because you've got the slot, you can put in the arcade card so you can play the Super CD2 games as well. The 32X, I believe, doesn't work in this. I haven't ever tried it. I might have to try that. Yes, anyway. So I will put the Megadrive one back in, I think, for now. So yeah, pretty impressive. But there was also another one that I read out there, which was the LD ones. Yeah, because not only were there the cartridges, not only were there the original CD games as well, but there were also a limited number of Laserdisc games released. Now, like most of the way video, like CD games were going when CD first came a big thing, all that was really added to these Laserdisc games were pre-rendered backdrops that basically spooled off the Laserdisc, and then you just had a game put on top of them. But still, it was impressive. So, what we have, let's have a look at our first one. And so this is Mega LD. It's shiny because it's in its case. So it says Mega LD there, so it's for the Mega Drive. And so this is a laser game called High Roller Battle, and it's effectively a helicopter game. It's rubbish. Let's be blunt about that. It's just effectively it's an on rails shooter, and you just have to shoot down helicopters. The thing that got me about this is that the actual footage that it spills off the Laserdisc is not that impressive. It's quite just badly rendered stuff, which is a shame. Let me just I've got a few discs over here, so we'll just kind of bring them all over. So Pyramid Patrol, that's another Mega LD game, again on-rail shooter, even worse than High Roller. And this Vajra 2, which I have not had a chance to play yet, and I will explain this one a bit later, and I'll explain this one a bit later as well. Because now we're going to go on to what this little accessory port is for. Now, I wanted to try and get as much as possible for these machines before I did this video. And the one thing that was outstanding was one of the accessories, and that is the 3D glasses. Yes, this had 3D glasses, and here they are. These are brand new as well. They were unopened in the box. I didn't believe it when I saw the auction, but it is in fact the case. I did pay a lot of money for these. I don't know if they work yet. I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to literally try it now. And yeah, so it's a basic shutter, 3D shutter technology. I'm not expecting great stuff out of this, I'll be honest. But the really cool thing about this is, see, they're quite hefty 3D glasses, very much kind of the old style 3D glasses, or in fact not that far off of things like Vive, let's be honest. But it had a little control box, which you had to buy separately, by the way, which is a real rip-off, because you could not use any 3D glasses with this without this control box. So that fact you had to go out and buy the 3D glasses and buy the control box is just not a nice move. But anyway, because of that control box, you can also use the Sega 3D glasses from the Master System. So these work as well. And the good thing is that this little control box has two ports, so you can have two sets of glasses in. So I have in fact plugged in these, because I also don't know if these work, because these were brand new in box as well. But they came from Japan, and I just didn't get the chance to test them yet. So I will see if they'll display anything on the games. Who knows? Maybe none of them work. Maybe the control box won't work. We don't know. And yep, so on that point is the reason why I got these. So this was very expensive because it's quite hard to get hold of, but it's got support for the 3D goggles. I don't know how that support works out. This game is supposed to be quite good, by the way, so it's going to be interesting because it will be the first one that I've found that is actually decent on here. And yeah, so somehow it supports the 3D goggles. I don't know how yet. But yeah, also, this is the 3D museum. So it's a tour and a museum, and it's got what looks like pairs of 3D glasses in there. So either that's a fallback mode or this isn't what I think it... Oh, no, it's got the 3D goggles in the corner, so it must be. I haven't tried either of these discs yet. I don't know if they work. This one feels new, so... But this was really cheap, this one, anyway, so... Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's excellent. In terms of this machine and collectability, it's very hard to collect for. It breaks down a lot. There's a lot of parts that go wrong on this. The laser, the various mechanisms, it's a very complicated mechanism inside there. When I received this, it had been knocked about quite a lot. I've had to do 3D printed parts to fix the actual frame, 3D printed parts to fix part of the mechanism, but that's mostly in this one, because I actually pirated parts from here and put them in here. I've had to replace the belts, and in this one I had to replace the laser, because the laser literally burnt out as I first tried it. So it's not been particularly smooth sailing, but now this is working quite well. The video board in this one now is burnt out, which is annoying. I suspect it's whatever problem caused the laser to burn out probably caused that. So I've got to trace that and then replace the chip, and yeah. So it's an interesting machine, but it's expensive. It's hard to get hold of. It only came out in America and Japan, so if you're not in those countries, you will need a step-down converter. The one thing I learned about this, because I did not do a huge amount of research, I'll admit, when I first started looking into the films for this, because it wasn't my primary concern. The games were my primary concern. And it turns out, though these are region unlocked, which is what most of the websites were saying, and so therefore fine, it can't play PAL videos, just because they're encoded differently on the disc, so it just doesn't know how to play them. So that was annoying. There are Laserdisc players you can buy that will play both, especially ones that were released in Europe, because there weren't that many films around, so they put in mechanisms so it could play both types. But yeah, this will not play any PAL videos. It just can't recognise them. It starts to spin them up. It knows it's a Laserdisc, but then it doesn't know what to do with them after that, and just fails. So that was really annoying. I had to end up buying a bunch of NTSC films. Yeah, so including, because I got Back to the Future, which I really actually wanted to watch because it's Back to the Future. But I got the PAL version first, it didn't work. Didn't know if this was failing. It was loading the games up, but I thought maybe it's not loading up videos. But then I just got hold of a relatively cheap, because the videos aren't that expensive actually, apart from a few standouts. I got a relatively cheap copy of it from France, weirdly enough, but the NTSC version, and played fine. So yeah, so then I did more research and found out about the encoding problem. So that's another issue with it. And let's be honest, there are easier ways to play Megadrive and Mega CD and PC Engine and Super CD games. Not in one box, admittedly, and obviously you can't get those. You can't play those Laserdisc games in anything except this. But again, those are hard to get hold of anyway. So those are the things. With all that said, will I recommend it? I probably actually would, because I actually really love this now. It's weird how it just became such a... It's been here since I got it, and it's not left this desk. This one, obviously, is still being repaired, so it leaves and comes. But for this one, hasn't left my desk since. I genuinely actually love this now. It's really got in there. But anyway, let's have a look at some software. Yeah, so this is the machine when it's on, and I'll be showing the interface. The interface shows up when you've got a pack in. If you haven't got a pack in there, you just get a black screen. It's weird that they didn't make like a special interface to show up when there's no pack. But anyway, so you'll see both these lights are lit up, so both CD and LEDs are available. If I push the CD one first, it's kind of cool. It checks if there's a CD in there first, and then if there isn't, a little bit in the middle comes out. It's pretty cool. Not like well, until you see the full thing come out, it's not that impressive. But it will be in a second. So then it checks, and so it finds if there's any discs in there, and if it doesn't, then it will tell you which ones are available. So there we go. So both available. So now if we push Laserdisc, there we go. Huge. So we stick the Laserdisc in there, obviously with the side label facing up that we want to be playing, and push the LD button, and then what should happen is interface now changes to press the play button because it understands the disc. If we do that, and we'll hear the wonderful spinning up noise. It genuinely sounds like it's taking off. Oh god, look at that. Picture is not great. That's the other problem with the discs, because they're analog. They do suffer a little bit from disc rot in the same way that, but they act in the same way that an analog disc acts when it starts getting issues. So a digital disc kind of either works or doesn't, or has some kind of error correction maybe, but this basically doesn't have that, so it just looks worse and worse as it goes along. So yep, so here's the intro to Pyramid Patrol. I won't play much of this because, well, we don't need to. Trust me, you'll see everything you want to see after the first couple of minutes.
This is Delta Platoon Leader. All craft prepare to get underway. This is Point Command. Let's go. Sensors indicate enemy spacecraft ahead of us. Assume combat formation.
Okay, so yep, so this is obviously on rails, so I'm not actually doing any steering or anything, I'm just moving this cursor around. And yeah, this is largely the game. Do you know what? It's got built-in autofire, which is good. But yeah, this is, and this is what I mean about the whole point of the Laserdisc is you had the streaming video in the background, but this is just dull. And there are some bits that do start to look really quite not impressive, but nicer at least later on. But still, it's kind of, there's no reason for it really. So yeah, this is a boss character then. Yeah, so this bit looked a little bit more impressive, but still not really. Okay, this disc is obviously in slightly better condition than the previous ones. Slightly. The quality of the game has not changed though. Right, let's just start this. Where is it? There we go. So the scenery is a little better, but still kind of not what you expect. Again, I'm not controlling anything here. Well, apart from the cursor. The actual the thing is just sort of rolling around. And it's much the same. You've got rockets in this game as well though. So it's kind of like a less advanced afterburner. And yeah, you run out of bullets, which... Anyway, yeah, we really don't have to show this one that much. Yeah, so for this next bit then we're going to have to put in the TurboGrafx, the PC Engine pack, so we'll turn the machine off. Remove the Megadrive joystick. Push the pack release. And then put the PC Engine one in its place. So now if we turn on, you'll see that there is a fair difference. There we go. So it's got its own little menu, and it shows the different formats that it can display. Right, so let's stick Blanchard 2 in. Don't know if this disc works. I don't know if the goggles work. I would assume they'll be showing something because they're powered at this point. But I guess at least we'll see if the disc works. Okay, well, it can boots up at least. So it's difficulty level. I'm still not seeing anything on the 3D glasses, so we'd have to assume they are not working. And seeing as both are doing nothing, I'm going to have to assume that the actual control box itself just isn't working, which is a shame. It's basically the same game again. I mean, it's definitely nicer. The backdrops are nicer, but it's still just a on-rail shooter. I didn't expect anything else, but this one has got much better reviews than most of the others. Well, that's an interesting and very professional loading screen. So I'm loading up the 3D museum. I wasn't actually going to show that off because it's a museum. But I read something about that other disc, and I just want to kind of verify with this. Okay, I think this is actually working. It's kind of hard to tell. No, I think the 3D glasses are in fact working. Right, so the thing I read up about on the other game is it looks like the 3D glasses stuff is only on side B, and side B you only get to once you finish side A. So you've got to complete the first part of the game before you can use 3D glasses, which is fine. Yeah, that's definitely working. So I take the glasses off. I don't get any 3D effect at all. That's good. That actually works alright. That's fairly subtle shutter technology actually. That's pretty good. Well, colour me amazed. Let's try the, I guess we'll try the Sega glasses. Sega glasses I think are also working, just not as well. Alright, well that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. I don't think we need to show this too much. This is interesting though, it's also got a thing called Music Odyssey on the other side, so it's just basically like a soundscape, which is pretty cool. I've got to say, I like soundscapes. Right, so that's the Laserdisc games for the two modules done. So yeah, obviously we've covered all of that. The fact that it can play PC Engine and Sega games of all types, the Sega Megadrive games of all types, pretty amazing. But there's one more kind of game it can play. Now, this isn't one that it's unique to this Laserdisc player. This is in fact a kind of game that could be used on all Laserdisc players, and it basically made use of the trick functions, which are effectively the pausing and the skipping functions that you get on machines. So this is a game called Many Roads to Murder, and it's not it's not anything particularly special. It's effectively a slightly high-tech choose your own adventure style book, but on a disc. But it's interesting because this, like I say, any Laserdisc player that can play this disc can use this game, and that's most players can use this disc. You'll get a lot of popping in the background of this video. That's nothing to do with my audio. That's because the 3rd of November is apparently the start of the Guy Fawkes period of time. Right. So yeah, it's a fair schlock detective story, but it's not bad for that. I don't mind. Right, frame display. Now here's the problem. I don't have the original controller for this machine, but there we go. I do have an all-in-one Harmony controller, and it does actually do a fairly good job on this. So as you can see, this is telling me to push the next frame. It's telling me what frame number is at the top. So effectively, if I think hit this button, there you go. So it goes to the next frame, and it tells you where your clues are and stuff. So if we want to look at clue 800, yes, that button. Right. So if I would go to frame 800, push play. This will then speed up the disc, and there we go. So now we get to our clues. And the idea is that we pick all our clues up, we play, and we can jump to different clues, we can jump to different locations, we can get different snippets of video. This is right back at the beginning again. And you're changing you choose the frame you want to go to. So if you want to accuse someone of a murder, you'll go to their frame. And if it's right, it's right. It'll play your correct video. If it's wrong, it'll play your wrong. Fairly simple, but still quite an interesting bit of technology, really. And like I said, any Laserdisc player that is capable of playing this disc is capable of playing this game, which is pretty cool. Right, well, that is way too much information in one sitting. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please hit like. If you really like the video, please hit subscribe. If you didn't like the video or you have other comments to make, then please leave them below. And if you want to see more of my videos when they get released, and you just hit the bell icon and it will tell you being subscribed isn't enough, apparently. Yeah, see you next time.